Hello, Lawrence Township students and families. This video was created for 3rd grade during the week of May 11th. Our focus will be humanities, and this is lesson number 1. In this lesson, students will learn how plants grow almost everywhere on the planet. Plants are so important to life on Earth that without them we could not survive. They have survival needs just like we do. Let's take a look at different types of plants and what they need to survive. For the next few weeks, we will be studying both nonfiction and fiction texts to help us understand why plants are such an important part of life here on Earth. Your learning targets include comparing and contrasting themes, settings, and plots of stories, writing effectively for a variety of tasks, purposes, and audiences, and constructing an argument that plants and animals have internal and external structures that function to support survival, growth, behavior, and reproduction. For task number 1, students will watch a video about plants. If you have a device at home, you can click on the link to watch the video to help you understand the story that we will read this week about a farmer who plants seeds to grow crops. If you don't have a device, you can watch the video with me here or talk with someone in your family about farmers and how they grow their crops, and then skip to task number 2. Then watch the video, read the words as the video plays, as this will help you understand better and also grow your reading skills. Let's take a look.
Let's learn something more about plants. Like all living things, plants too have a life cycle. They begin as a seed, grow into a mature plant, and the mature plant produces new seeds. This is how the cycle continues. However, not all plants produce seeds. Some lower plants, like ferns and mosses, produce a different type of cells called spores. These plants also have a life cycle, but they do not produce seeds. Let's study the life cycle stages of a flowering plant. The life cycle of a flowering plant begins with a seed. A seed is a baby plant. It contains nutrition necessary to start the life of a plant. Seeds can survive over the winter and even for many years. Seeds come in all shapes and sizes and can be covered in shells, fruits, or cones. The next stage is germination. Germination is when a plant starts emerging from a seed. When seeds get proper light, water, warmth, and minerals, they start germinating. A seed will not germinate without all these. After germination, plants start growing. Plants need sunlight, nutrients, water, and air for their survival and growth. When a plant becomes mature, it gives rise to flowers. And flowers produce seeds. Finally, seeds get dispersed away to new places, and the plant life cycle begins again. Seeds can get dispersed by wind, water, animal, and explosion. Now let's study about the plant parts and their functions. Roots. Root is the part of the plant that grows out of the seed first. As the baby plant grows, the outer hard shell of the seed becomes soft and roots emerge from the seed. It takes up water and minerals from the ground to be used by the plant. Stem. The stem too grows out of the seed. The stem is the backbone of a plant. It provides support to the plant. Leaf. As the stem grows, many leaves emerge on the plant. A leaf is the kitchen of the plant. It makes food for the entire plant. Bud. A bud is a baby flower covered by special leaves. These buds open up and become flowers. Flower. A flower is the most beautiful part of a plant that helps it to get seeds. As the flowers grow, they're pollinated and become fruits. In these fruits, we can find the seeds of this plant. Let's learn how to grow a plant. We take seeds of the plant we would like to grow and put them in a pit in the ground. The seeds must be covered with soil. They have to be watered regularly to help them grow into new plants. Soon the roots and stem will emerge from the seed, and we can see the young plant coming out of the ground. The plant must be given proper sunlight as they need it to prepare their food.
Students will be successful when they have watched the video and can understand how a plant grows from a seed. For task number 2, students will read the passage Magic Tomatoes to learn more about farmers and how they grow their crops from seeds. First, you'll read the passage Magic Tomatoes. Then read it again and even multiple times to practice your fluency. Remember, fluency is when we read like we speak without any pauses or stops. Reread it again to understand what you have read. Share your thinking with someone in your family. Then we will fill out the Venn diagram to compare and contrast Magic Tomatoes with Miss Johnson's plant experiment from last week. We will compare and contrast the theme, setting, and plot of the two different stories. In order to be successful, students will read the passage fluently and compare and contrast the theme, setting, and plot of our two stories. Here we can see the text for today called Magic Tomatoes by Edward I. Maxwell. If you would like to read the story with me, you can skip to the end of the video. We're also including for you the text from last week, Miss Johnson's plant experiment. While I know we read it multiple times last week and we have it in our brains, it's also nice to have the text in front of us to use that evidence and use it for our Venn diagram. This is what we call a Venn diagram, and we can see two circles that merge in the middle. We're going to write the title Magic Tomatoes on the left side and the title Miss Johnson's Plant Experiment on the right. In the middle, we're going to write about things that both stories have in common. Because Magic Tomatoes is on the left side, over here, this is where we're going to write about the differences between the two stories. So you're going to write all of the differences that only apply to Magic Tomatoes on this side. And then on this side, on the right-hand side, we're going to write about the differences that are in Miss Johnson's plant experiment. Remember to write with complete sentences and use evidence from your text when you can here, and write about the ways that the theme, setting, and plot of the story are similar and different. For task number 3, students will complete the DLR on the following pages. Students will be successful when they can correctly answer at least 5 out of 6 questions on their daily language review. Here we can see our DLR for the day. In box number 1, we need to find which word has a prefix. Remember that a prefix comes at the beginning of a root word. In box number 2, we need to say which word comes first in alphabetical order. So if we were to look in a dictionary, which word would come first? In box number 3, we have 3 different ways to spell one, and we need to figure out which one fits in the sentence. For box number 4, we must circle the adverb in the sentence. Remember, an adverb has that word verb in it. So a verb is an action word, and an adverb describes a verb. So for example, I could say that I ate very slowly. Slowly describes how I ate. So tell me which word in that sentence is an adverb. In box number 5, we have a sentence that says, Jordan, Marley, and Emily are good friends. We must correct the sentence because there are many spelling and punctuation errors. Finally, in box number 6, our sentence says there are 2,000 thunderstorms on Earth every minute. Circle, is that a fact or an opinion? The next few slides provide you with visuals and support to ensure you are successful with each task. Here we can see the academic vocabulary that we will need in order to be successful reading our texts. Here we can see some Venn diagram support to help us know how we can fill out our Venn diagram to compare and contrast the two stories. Let's read our text for today. Magic Tomatoes by Edward I. Maxwell. Luke's father is a farmer. To be more precise, his dad is a fruit and vegetable farmer. Instead of cows, pigs, sheep, and horses, Luke's house is surrounded by corn, squash, lettuce, and tomatoes. Luke does not mind that there are no animals. In fact, he likes living on a fruit and vegetable farm much better. If you asked Luke, he would say that a fruit and vegetable farm is magical. What do you mean magical? Luke's friend Tom asked one day. Well, it's like this, said Luke. My dad casts a spell, and soon enough the fruits and vegetables appear where there used to be bare dirt. Now, Luke knows that this is not really magic, but all the same, he feels it is pretty special that his dad is able to create something as grand as a cornfield where there used to be nothing. Sometimes, Luke sets his alarm clock so he can wake up before the sunrise too. He eats cereal with his dad and asks him what spells he is going to cast. I'm planting tomatoes today, son, Luke's father explained. Tomatoes ripen best in a very hot summer heat. So I need to plant the seeds early in spring. That way there will be a tall, healthy tomato vines once August arrives. How do you make sure the vines grow tall and healthy? Luke asked. They grow strong when you give them care and attention and have a little bit of hope, his father laughed. Can I help? Luke begged. Of course, exclaimed his father. So on days Luke did not have school, he helped his father, and Luke learned more about his dad's magical work. Luke learned that a tomato plant indeed needs a lot of care. He spent one whole day in the early June sun, sinking wooden stakes into the ground by young tomato sprouts. After the tomato vines had grown a little taller, Luke tied them to the stakes so that they would not topple over and lose their special fruit. The tomatoes sure need a lot of attention, Luke exclaimed one afternoon. He had been double and triple tying the vines because the weather forecaster had predicted wind and rain for that night. Luke's father wanted to make sure his tomatoes did not get blown over in a storm. Most worthwhile things do require a lot of attention, Luke, replied his father with a smile. What do you mean? Asked Luke. Well, said his father, standing up straight and wiping the sweat from his forehead, we should pay close attention to things that make our lives better. That is why you pay attention to Mom? Asked Luke. Yes, replied his father. I pay close attention to you and Mom because you both make my life better. You both make me very happy. The rest of Luke's work that day went by a lot quicker. Taking care of the tomato plants, Luke imagined he was taking care of his mom and dad. With a little bit of family magic and a lot of attention, Luke was certain these would be the most beautiful tomatoes he had ever seen once August arrived. If needed, watch this video again as you work on the tasks in this lesson. Please be reminded to submit your work to your classroom teacher.